Okay, so welcome, Creative Blocks with me, Jeremy Beam. I'm your host. Every week we have a guest on. We break down creative blocks that might have as an artist, and we play with Legos. This week I have Byron Burton, pre-med student turned screenwriter. Screenplay writer.
Pre-pharmacy into pharmacy school, leave after a day.
You got into pharmacy?
Yeah,
Okay, I thought you were doing pre-med.
They had the white coat printed and everything.
And then you were
I
like,
didn't even collect it. I was like, I'm
out, going to Hollywood. Nice. Well, Byron, thank you.
Yeah, thanks for
This
having
is technically episode 2, but it'll probably post as episode 1. I haven't posted either yet, so first one was kind of a trial run, but we'll jump into it on this one, man.
Dumpster fire or no?
Yeah, no, it went well.
Okay, good. Okay.
Yeah, but different camera angle.
I like this camera already.
We're in a new studio.
We
Got
are.
the backdrop.
I like it.
We got the table set up, so it's going good, man. Thank you for coming on.
There's a good energy.
Yeah.
Here.
So we were talking right before the show, like before we started recording. You never really played with Legos.
No, I got like an accessory kit from this kid named Jonathan Duff as like a 6th grade present.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a main kit to go with
And
it,
that was
so
it?
I never opened it. Yeah. Sorry, Jonathan.
It went to Goodwill shortly after.
I don't know. I think I just kept it and then just, didn't open it.
Yeah. Well, man. Well, welcome. We've got a shit ton of Legos here. I actually had the family mail me all my childhood Legos in a big garbage bag from Kentucky. So this is it. So, I mean, what we got here, we've got your big bricks, the basic blocks of the Legos, some little shit in those bins.
Where are the Chris Pratts?
Those are all
Right here?
people. Yeah, those
Okay.
are all just full of Lego guys, man. You gotta,
Nice.
it's icing on the cake.
Is that
We've
what
got,
it's called?
yeah,
Okay.
we've got land. So pretty much just jump into it, man. We're gonna keep playing, and at the end of this, I might, we'll see what you built, see what
I'm
you
gonna
came up
start
with.
with some Round County green. This
Yeah.
is-
So you moved to LA from Kentucky.
Indeed, I
That's
did.
where I actually met you in college.
Yes, that was
Surpri-
it's a wonderful period.
Yeah, we both were pre-med, and now we both are in Hollywood with not medical and pharmaceutical jobs,
Yeah,
chasing
True.
our dreams. Yeah.
it feels good.
Yeah, it does. So you actually, you're screenwriting now, right?
Yes, I'm screenwriter, songwriter, repped at Zero Gravity Management. But my
Nice.
first credit was a song.
It was.
Yeah.
And what did it get? What did that go to?
That was for X-Men Apocalypse in 2016. Michael Fassbender ended up singing it for around 12 seconds. It was supposed to be in the movie 3 minutes. That's Hollywood. But it was fun. Yeah, it was a great credit. It was fun to see what he did with it.
So you also, I remember, didn't you write the backstory for one of the X-Men movies when you first came out?
Well, this was all tied together.
Oh, it was?
So
Okay.
Magneto was supposed to have had this Polish song that his mother sang to him, and we had to discuss, what would be going on, pre-industrial era, like they're working in the fields. And so we had a lot of different lyrics of how, it would relate to their life back home
Yeah.
before the Holocaust. And so that's kind of, and then we did a little bit more with it that didn't make in the film. But yeah, it was really fun to dig in that.
That's nice because you did that like pretty much right when you came out to LA,
Before,
right? Oh, before.
Yeah,
so
I was
that's
still
what,
in Kentucky.
Gotcha. So that's what inspired you to really come out.
Yeah, I feel like you're doing much better with these.
Man,
Legos than
that's
I
what
am.
I was about to say. It's like clearly I have played with Legos as a child, and here you are.
I'm starting with
We've
this
laid one
mud
piece,
monster.
man.
Yeah. All right. So I'm doing okay.
Yeah, cool. Let me see. So, out here in LA, I mean, when we were you were pre-pharmacy, you had to maintain a pretty strict study habits.
Yeah, too strict.
Yeah, too strict, just to maintain a C. And that was just
I
to,
got out of undergrad with no C's.
that was just to get by. I wish I could say the same, but hey, zoology, fuck you.
Dr. Eisenhower, sweet
Yeah.
man.
Good guy.
I didn't like that class.
I didn't either.
I
No.
mean, the lecture was enjoyable, but the lab just tired me out.
Yeah, it did. You can only dissect so many animals
Yeah.
before you're ready to call it a day. So, do you apply? What I was going to ask though is, do you apply any of the social media strategies, or not social media, but the pre-pharmacy strategies you picked up in undergrad into your screenwriting today? Because I don't know if it's the same for you, but with comedians, there's a lot of laziness to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've
It
seen
doesn't
that.
take much to write, but it takes a lot to get started writing.
Sure.
So I didn't know if you came out here and are applying any of those.
Just when it comes to like the science behind certain plot points or characters and so forth.
Yeah.
So in that way, but not necessarily, I don't know, study habits.
Yeah. Cool.
I've got a horse and a lifeboat.
You're coming along, man. I'm making some like Waterworld contraption. I went with the blue
Have you ever
plate.
met Kevin Costner?
No, I have. I can't say I've met Kevin Costner. You about to name drop it? You have met Kevin?
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay. And he's like, yeah, the other day when I was grabbing lunch with Kevin Costner.
No, we're not there yet.
No. Okay. So I have a lot of like movie ideas personally, but my struggle. So this is creative blocks. So one of my creative blocks when it comes to even thinking about writing a screenplay is actually putting the idea to paper.
Sure.
So what's your process? So you come up with like you get a movie idea in your head. Do you keep it at an idea for a while, or do you start immediately flushing it out on?
Depends on how much I think it has legs. Like there's the passion ideas that you get that you're really excited about, but then you're like, who's going to front the money to make this? Like what's going to make this stand out?
Yeah.
So I've gotten to the point where I cut off a lot of idea progression like that. I just won't go down that rabbit trail. Whereas before, if I was excited about it, it was going to get written and then see what happens.
Gotcha. So now you're more picky with your ideas that you come across.
Yeah, my manager was talking about our next ideas, and I am working on a really great sitcom that I'm excited about. But mainly, I've been pushing the 2 scripts and the hour-long series I've got that are all 3 are ready to go. So I've been being sort of my own agent
Yeah,
in a way.
Your
Yeah.
own agent. Now you don't have an agent yet, right?
No, just management.
Cool. It's a good thing to have.
Well, it is. It's always nice. They say, you get your first sale out of the way and you give your commission to your manager, and then, you can get that agent after and save
That's what,
a little bit. But
it's similar. I've heard with the comedian aspect is like the manager you want to keep throughout your entire career, but agents can come and go. You might be with a different agency, but I'm with no agency, so who am I to say?
that would actually be a great name for a company, No Agency.
Agency?
An agency in terms of like, haste or speed.
Oh yeah, yeah, that would be cool. Somebody run with that idea. So let me see. How's your
I have
how's your
Mud
building,
Monster, and then is it Samurai or Hawaiian?
man? It looks like a little tribal guy.
Okay, tribal guy on a horse in a
Yeah.
lifeboat on a, we'll say
Little window,
window.
little screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely got this little.
Yours looks pretty good.
I don't know what I got going on.
You're very visual. I can.
Yeah,
see.
man. This is one of the fun things we were noting on last week, or when I did the last one that may or may not air. I had my friend Mitchell on, and he was noting like, it's hard to maintain the interview aspect of this while trying to be creative and
For
build.
sure.
Yeah, that's going to be the challenge among all of this. So
Now I'm gonna go to the smaller pieces.
go for it, man. Yeah, start
Is
laying down some stuff.
Is littler? Is that?
Littler,
Is that? It sounds
Tinier?
wrong. There's
tinier. Yeah,
Is there
smaller.
more? Smaller.
The smaller pieces. Hey, we're both from Kentucky. You guys gotta excuse us sometimes. Man, let me see. So, like, let me ask you this: what's one thing you've changed your mind about in the last few years, and why?
Gay marriage. No, I'm kidding.
Boom.
I don't know. Something I've changed my mind about in the last few years. This can be very deep. This can
It
be
could
very,
be.
very dumb. How about you? Can you start me off so I can kind of,
Man, I feel like realistically, if corporate America, I don't know if that's the answer I want to give, dude, but
I like this.
I had a
okay.
corporate gig before I came to LA. I graduated biology, was working as microbiologist,
Yeah.
and seeing that real corporate life, like the full-on Fortune 500 corporate gig, made me hate corporations so much. But like any day gig I have until I don't need gay gigs until I don't need day
Gay
gigs.
gigs?
Yeah,
Is that a Freudian slip?
Yeah.
What
it
have you
was,
been doing
man.
at night?
Until I don't need day gigs anymore. That's startup life, man. Like I love that environment and culture. And I used to think, startup wouldn't be for me, but I don't know. That's one thing I've changed my mind on. So back to you. What about you? What have you changed your mind on lately?
Something I've changed my mind on lately would be
Within like the last few years.
more open to things that I would kind of maybe have waved off before in terms of maybe, spirituality or astrology and stuff. I will keep an open mind to and listen if someone wants to share that.
Yeah.
You
You can't avoid it in LA.
you can.
You-
It's out here.
It's out here, man. I've had some dinners that made me want to stand up and walk away from the table, but their spiritual advisor at the time advised me to stay seated.
Did
you
they?
know?
So yeah, that's coming from a very science background.
Yeah.
And a lot of the professors that we had, all the with doctorates, several of them had faith, so and still do, and unless they've gone through some trouble.
Agreed.
But yeah, so I mean, it's certainly not something that is not covered in science. But yeah, a lot of science is what's provable.
Yeah. That's cool, man. One thing I feel like I've just noted from knowing you from moving out to LA, like
Sure.
knowing you before, is how's your stance on marijuana changed from being? Because I felt like we shared a lot of classes in undergrad, but like we never were hanging out a lot after classes or anything like that. We were in study sessions, but that's about as far as it went. But out here in LA, we hang out. We get together, we grab lunch, and it's
Yeah.
been different. And when I knew you pre-med or in college, you were, I felt like you were not for the weed at all.
You thought I was a square?
Not a square. I just didn't think
No.
that was your cup of tea. But since being in LA, you've embraced it some. Not saying you've partaked, but you've embraced the culture around it.
Yeah, well,
That's fair to say.
sure, absolutely. I mean, it's a nice thing. I remember one of the massage therapists that I would go to for a long time. She was very religious, but she was a big believer in it.
In Kentucky?
Yeah, and
Okay.
certainly I know family members that
Mhm.
like the ganja or ganj or
I think
whatever.
everyone has an uncle.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I don't have a problem with it.
Cool.
I think it's good,
Nice.
and hopefully, it'll put Big Pharma out of business.
I think it will, man. It's going to shut down my old job. That was one thing I realized working in the pharmaceutical industry was that everything that was being produced, a lot of it could have been replicated with marijuana
Yeah.
on a different, maybe not exactly, but for the most part, pain pills and a strong dose of indica, they're not that different.
The other thing
At
too,
least for me.
So out here at MedMin and some of these places, really good, helpful people, and you'll read about the strains of the different marijuana, and they'll all hit like the same notes for the first 4 points.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's kind of like they throw in like a fifth point. It's like ringing in the ears or appetite. It's like, come on,
Creativity.
yeah,
Yeah.
They have like all of it. It's I don't know. It's kind of like
Great strain for riding scooters around the city with. 0.5.
Yeah, that's not far away. I think they'll be putting that up next
They
week.
will. Yeah. Best strains for bird scooters. One thing I wanted to ask you was, so with your writing process, is there anything that you do that's different from what you see your colleagues do differently, or is there anything they do that's you think is wrong and you do differently?
Well, a lot of people will do the heavy outlining. I like to make my first draft the outline. Like I like to just start writing when I'm inspired and when I see it in my head. And see, for a long time I thought this is how everybody did it, but it's sort of I've come to realize that it's sort of a beautiful mind scenario where I'm not really like writing the scene. Sometimes you'll struggle with the dialogue, but especially with action, it just plays out for me. So.
Mm-hmm.
It's more like I'm transcribing the vision in my head. And some people are like, no, for me, I have to think and guess where this is going to go and so forth. And I don't have it that way.
So you free flow when
Yeah.
you type. You're not sitting here going, this is chapter 1. This has to be, or this is chapter, like you worry about that later. You're just getting thought to paper.
Yeah, and a lot of the outline happens up here. So
Yeah.
I get to kind of skip that step.
Do you write every day?
Absolutely not. And a lot of people are shocked when they hear that. I was talking to Hugh Jackman's wife, Deborah Lee Furness, who's an amazing actress and really great. She does a lot of good work with adoption. We were talking about it, and she was sharing with me that she was writing. And she said, you know, they tell me to write every day. And I said, I find you can edit every day. But in terms of writing, I like to reserve that for when I really feel like I've got a beat on the topic or the character, when I'm really feeling inspired and fresh. That's when it's the best for me. Obviously, I don't have 4 deadlines right now, or that wouldn't be, you know, an option that would be on the table. I would have to just, you know, pour through, and see what happens.
Okay.
You know, whatever you get, you get. You only have so many hours to do
but
it.
You're not getting up every morning and doing like morning pages or
no
pen to paper exercises and just writing trying to make a short story.
A lot of
it
it has got to do with confidence too. It's
Yeah.
like being an athlete in a way. You know, when you're an actor, when you're a writer, when you're a director, like that's why a lot of these personalities are volatile. Is because you have to believe in what you're doing and almost be like arrogant or really aggressive to get your vision out there. Not that I've never been that way, and I'm not fortunate enough to have that clout, but you know, David O. Russell's done several great films, and you look back on the I Heart Huckabees explosion that he had, like there's something good that comes from that. Obviously, if you could, you know, remove that from the equation, it's better.
Not for what was the I Heart?
I Heart
Catastrophe?
Huckabees. It was he went off on Lily Tomlin, and then she started giving it back to him, and they were
okay. And this was like aired
on-set video.
Gotcha,
Yeah,
gotcha, captured. Damn, it sucks. But then, if he can bounce back from it.
sure. But yeah, I think that's important to have confidence, because if you start being like, oh, I don't know if this is the right thing, then when you lose that, you lose your voice, and you're screwed as an artist.
100%. Yeah, I mean it's the same for stand-up. You know, when you're first starting out on open mics, you're terrified, but the audience doesn't know you're terrified. You walk up there with that face, and fake it till you make it. You know, that's what they say, and I think that's applicable across a lot of areas, especially in the industry.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do you struggle with? I know one thing you like. You're good with networking.
That's a strength.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Thank
because, I mean, some people would rather just stay in their bedroom and only go out when they need to. But do you do any, like, do you strategize behind your networking? Do you like to just get out and be out? Like, are you just a people person?
Early on, you are more apt to be like, oh, here's this person. Maybe I can make a move here.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, obviously, if you don't have an in, if you're not represented, if you feel like you can carry yourself well, maybe 1 out of 30 times that goes over in a way where they're like, okay, call my office. And then whether they meant it or not, or whether the office will get back, you know, that's another step. But the first step is just being like, I would entertain this, you know. Early on in my career, I would look to see if maybe that was an option. But mostly, I didn't have that where I wasn't in L.A. I was in Kentucky. So a lot of my stuff was cold calls, cold emails, just being polite, talking about contest placement. So if you're a writer or director, you want to, you know, get your work out there, and anything you can do to add credibility, because these people get contacted all the time. And unfortunately, they get contacted by a lot of people that don't have talent and have delusions of grandeur. So it really gums up the pipeline for those voices that are recognized at this time. So just do contests, do whatever you can to sort of add accolades, and then, you know, try and build relationships up. You know, if you read an article that somebody likes horse racing and you're from Kentucky and you have a background there, then, you know,
run with it.
Yeah, run with it. And it's not just pure manipulation. I mean, you know, it's like, oh, well, this is an angle in. Well, yeah, it is, but you can still be authentic.
Yeah.
You can try and put your best foot forward and still have, like, you know, hey, man, I think you should give me a shot. I like that we have these common interests. I'm not going to text you or email you every day. Just,
right.
You know.
We just share this with you.
We just want to share it and see.
Yeah.
And then somebody will give you a chance inevitably.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
That's the game plan, you know? And if not, you made some friends along the way, maybe.
Yeah.
Or enemies.
That's the thing in Hollywood, yeah. A lot of people do like to talk, but fortunately, I've not run into very many bad people. I've run into a lot of nice people.
Yeah, same. And the ones that are bad usually don't stick around.
It's true.
At least for my experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, one thing with screenplay writing, there is this term, on spec. and that's where
Absolutely.
Do you have screenplays written, and can you explain on spec?
So that's when you write with the idea that one day you'll either get the thing optioned or sold, or all those plus getting it actually, filmed and then released, whether it's in theaters or direct to video or whatever. So some famous specs are Lethal Weapon, which Shane Black, who was an actor in Predator, and he also wrote the first two, and then he wrote and directed Iron Man 3, which was better than 2. None of them touched the first one, though.
Oh,
Iron
yeah?
Man 1 was so good. His best work probably is Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
What was?
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. It was
I don't know if I've seen that one.
Robert Downey Jr., Val Kilmer,
Okay.
Michelle Monaghan. It's a fantastic film, truly original. My friend scored it, John Ottman, I just won the Eddie for editing Bohemian Rhapsody, and hopefully he'll win the Oscar. I'm pulling for you, John.
Good luck, John.
You've worked very hard, and this was all you. It was just John and the producer after the director, removal.
Mm-hmm.
Him and post putting this thing together, and he had his space, and it allowed him to do something really amazing. So I'm very happy for John.
Nice.
But on spec, yes. So Lethal Weapon was a famous spec. Basic Instinct, I believe, sold for $5 million as just like a spec. That basically, if you work for a studio or you get an assignment, they're like, "Hey, we want to hear your take on Toy Story 4, or we want to hear your take on Spider-Man." Then you go in there and you pitch your idea. So the pitch, I guess, is a little bit of a spec in a sense because you're not being paid to pitch. But if you pitch and they like you and they say, "Okay, you're going to do it," you get an assignment. So in Hollywood, you want assignment work. That's the for sure thing. The money's up front, then you deliver.
Mm-hmm.
If nobody's interested in you because you don't have your credits or whatever, then you write on spec. And then when you're done, you pass it around and see what production companies might like that genre. It's about finding the marketplace.
Gotcha.
So there's no guarantee you'll ever see it get made or make a penny.
Yeah. Have you ever done any fan on specs, written I don't know, a show, an episode of a show that you're a fan of, or a movie that sequel?
Yeah, it's quite funny.
Yeah.
So I wrote an X-Men spinoff with John after we did the song in Apocalypse. We started working on this idea for a spinoff that would center on Hank McCoy, and it had a nice it was like John Carpenter's The Thing meets superhero movie.
Mm.
And it's really good. So there still might be life for it. I don't want to talk too much about it.
Gotcha.
But yeah, Fox was pretty firm on where they saw the franchise for the next 6 or 8 years.
Nice.
And then, of course, now Marvel's going to get it back.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I wrote it with an R. There was actually a little girl saw her brother get decapitated, and the head rolls down the hill. And John looked at me. He's like, "I know Logan and Deadpool are out." He's like, "But you can't have a 15-year-old kid's head rolling down the hill."
That's
I'm
not
like,
PG-13.
I said, "Okay, we'll make it something else." So in the scene, they're throwing this ball around, and the brother gets angry, and he throws it in the woods, and she says, "I'm going to go tell Mom." He's like, "Oh, fine." So he marches off. So then we hear a scream, and the ball rolls down the hill, and it's a bloody volleyball. So no decapitation, still sort of a horrific thing. But yeah.
That's a nice compromise.
It
that
was
you
an
made.
artistic compromise.
Yeah, it was.
For the good of the children.
Yeah. So speaking of artistic compromises,
I love that we just talked for
how's
2
your
minutes.
Lego?
I have this.
I was gonna say,
have
man,
one
I
set
know you look
piece.
like you're struggling over here.
This
I don't know
is
what I've got
NASA.
going on here.
You've got
yeah.
a canoe.
Yeah. I see you have creative blocks when it comes to Lego.
I do. Well, you're not giving me much to work with here, I have to say.
What do you mean?
This
what
tub
do you
here, this is riff-raff, folks.
This is riff-raff, man.
Riff-raff.
You're only limited by your imagination
well, then
when
we're-
looking at
then
this
we're in
bin of
very-
Legos. Look at this starship base.
Then
We've
we're in
got-
very bad shape if I'm limited by the imagination.
Man, there's so much to do here. Oh, so you're gonna have to watch this and see some other guests come on, and you're gonna watch.
I'm gonna feel
I'm
very
gonna
bad.
bring on some Lego aficionados who are just
This
gonna.
one doesn't even fit for me. I'll figure it out.
Man, you got to put it on right. You see, with Legos, the holes you want to put in the
in the pegs.
the grooves go into like that, sir.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
What,
gonna-
what what was your childhood like? What was your go-to
Jesus.
besides a microscope?
Well, I had
GI Joes.
I had a lot of Batman, a lot of X-Men figurines, Spider-Man. I was really influenced by those 90s animated series, which is funny. So in December, my editor at Hollywood Reporter and I, we won a National Journalism Award for an article on X-Men, the animated series.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, congrats.
Yeah, so that was fun.
Yeah.
THR won the most of any outlet, and it was his first award, and I told him I was good luck. It was funny. He did a really great job. He took point on a lot of the hard interviews. I got to do the talent.
Yeah.
And but it was funny because we'd just done that with Batman, and it was a really great article, and that was something that I'd push for. And then he said we could do X-Men too, and I didn't really jump on it immediately. And he's like, well, I don't know that we have to. I said, no, let's go ahead and do it. So like that was the push. So he credited me. He's like, yeah, you pushed us to do that. I was like, yeah, but you really killed it, man. I mean, I was glad to interview Wolverine, and I talked to Beast and Gambit and Jubilee.
Did you?
So yeah,
Nice.
it was fun. I love those people. And last night at the Annie Awards, Andrea Romano, who's become a dear friend, she lives not too far from me in the Valley, and we stop at a couple little restaurants for some good Italian.
Yeah.
She got a really wonderful Lifetime Achievement Award. And Rob Paulson and Maurice LaMarche, Peaky and the Brain, those actors.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, they gave it to her, and they did a little shtick in the characters. That was
Did
very
they?
cool.
Little
But yeah, just to meet all these
shout
people,
out to them.
meet these people that I loved as a kid, and to now see them
As colleagues.
as colleagues.
Yeah.
And we're trying to get a show off the ground that we've been working on together.
Man, I had the same way when I first came here, going to like the Comedy Store or to some of these mics and seeing, the headliners doing the same open mics I'm doing, or just seeing like the Joe Rogan being like right next in the hallway. You've been to the Comedy Store.
Oh, yeah.
You know how it is. And you quickly have to just get past that if you want to stay with us. You can't be a fanboy. It's like, no, those are all colleagues.
No, they never want that.
No,
Absolutely
of course not. No. So let me ask you: do you have any systems? I feel like you're struggling over here with your Legos.
Oh, I'm horrible, but I'm answering your question. So.
Oh, 100%, man. At the end of the day, it's not. This isn't a. You suck at Lego building. Interview's off. I'm out. Just walk off. Do you have any systems in place for your writing? I know you said you don't write daily, but
No,
I guess you've established you free flow. But
I'm a free flower. Yeah, and just really right now I'm all about getting these things into production, which has been exciting and really fulfilling to talk directly with the producer and to game plan with her and some of the talent, talking with them directly. It's been amazing. So many people I've made friends with through interviewing them. It's I don't know if it's just the Kentucky in me or what, but I hit it off with a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I'm very blessed that
you've got a good elevator pitch in the back pocket.
it's not even that
always.
so much. It's just like, hey, would you like to keep in touch? And maybe at some point, I'm not just gonna say, here's a script that nobody's read. What do you think? Like, I don't come to them with that.
It's
like, you come in
authentic
and say,
Southern charm. That's
yeah,
what
you just say, let's keep in touch, and then if I have something that has momentum, I'd love, to have a conversation.
Yeah.
That's basically it. And then you get an EP attached. Like, I'm working on something with the co-creator of Ozark, which is just a fabulous show,
Yeah.
Jason Bateman. He just won the SAG Award for that. So when you have, a real name like that, and you have 2 episodes written that everyone has responded to, say, hey, everybody loves this. We've got this EP. We're talking to some directors. Would you want to look at it? And then just, take it from there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really...
That's fun.
Yeah, it's been the last few weeks, a lot of movement,
Yeah.
more than I've seen in a while. It's been exciting.
So are you doing a lot of the editing once the idea becomes pen to paper? Are you doing a lot of post editing with them, or are you going, here you go? Like, are you do you stay with the script the whole entire way?
Well, you can always just sell it and wash your hands of it. I mean, obviously, scripts will get rewritten over and over again. I just finished a polish on a sci-fi drama. But no, when your contract is written for the option or for the actual sale, you can have in your contract, I get 1 rewrite or I get 2 rewrites, so that way you stay on. Because the goal is to be the only writer on the film, unless you came in as a team or a package.
Gotcha.
So you don't want to be rewritten in the 9th hour.
Yeah, that makes sense. You want to stay with it.
So yeah, it's all about how your contract's tailored. But of course, you can I have a friend that he just wrote something for a director who had some hits in the 90s, and then he's like, I just hope the director writes the next draft and I'm done with it. I'm just like, really? It sounds like you're in the wrong business.
Yeah, if you're ready to just walk away from it. Are you looking for like a quick payout?
I guess, or maybe
Maybe.
creatively bankrupt. I don't know. Both
knows?
sound pretty terrible.
Yeah,
so I don't know.
would pass on either. Let's see.
I just threw some shade, folks.
Byron coming at you.
I just try and keep it
You keep
true,
it real
keep
for
it
the
real.
listeners, man. I appreciate you being on here. Let me ask you. I think I got one more question for you here. Do you have any quote you live your life by, or you at least think about often? I'm big on quotes personally.
I love when people rattle them off. I don't know that I create a lot of quotes myself in
Yeah,
different
that's good.
states of absurdity, and I enjoy that.
Are
But
you allowed to create your own quote? Shouldn't someone else decide that for you?
well, I'll say something. They're like, that's a Byronism or something.
Oh,
I
okay.
think that's the term.
That's a term.
Yeah, it's like old quaint Kentucky talk with like something extremely outlandish.
Nice.
This is a weird piece. This is like a baseball diamond. It's home plate.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you got home plate here.
Yeah.
Home plate is going to go on this guy's head. Now he looks
So
like
what have you come out with over
a
here?
French
Let's
general.
go.
So
let me
this
sh-
is
let me
my
see what we got
homage
here.
to Obi-Wan and Anakin in Episode 3.
Okay.
I've got the high ground, Anakin. And then he's going to flip and get his arms cut off.
Nice.
And this is that little robot that's floating around in the lava. And then these are just bridges. So that's Episode 3.
Right there,
Reincarnate.
man.
And then this was my other masterpiece. This is, I forget the crocodile.
Yeah.
We've got Dragon in the Forest. And then this is like, what's it called in the old style rifles that they had the thing? Is it a baton? No, the
A bayonet.
bayonet.
A bayonet. Yeah.
So this is
Bayonet.
the inflatable raft's bayonet with a tribal man and the horse is in the raft. And we're going to say that this is like a jet powered thing instead of a window. And
All
then
right,
this over
so-
here is just, this is some sort of, what do you think?
A wall.
A wall?
Yeah.
Is it Trump's wall?
It's Trump's
Is it
wall. It's
stage
the start.
one?
This is a stage one, and you already can
But you
go.
can already
already
crawl
go
under
under
it,
the
yeah.
wall. Yeah, man. There's
it's
already
trenches, folks. That's the way of the future.
that costs
Trenches.
$3 trillion to
Yeah.
make right there.
That is
At
a
least,
shame.
man. Let's see. I've come out with this full-on water world. I can't pick mine up because
It's too
yeah,
too
you know,
precious.
some of us have actually built
Legos
stuff over here.
and you
and I
know that it's
got a little exploding.
the canoe's
boat,
not
maybe.
on there. If you're gonna do it right, you need
Yeah.
to like set the canoe in. I want to feel it.
I don't think
there
it
we go.
does. It snap in.
It did a little.
Oh, there
bit.
we go. Yeah, it's more for aesthetic. So, what do you think, man? Pilot episode. This is like
It was fun. It
Yeah.
was good. Yeah.
cool, man. Any plugs? Where can people find you?
You
Where,
can
like, if
find
they wanna
me
keep up with you?
at Byron S. Burton on Twitter and Instagram. And then I'm going to be doing a lot of convention this year. I work with Tony-winning actor John Glover, who is Lionel Luthor on Smallville, and
Nice.
Gremlins 2. You've got Star Trek. You've got Batman and Robin. He voiced the Riddler for Andrea Romano, who won the Lifetime Achievement Award. She cast him along with Mark Hamill for the Joker and Kevin Conroy for Batman. It's an iconic, great series. But yeah, so we're traveling continental U.S. and a couple dates in the U.K. So I'll be
Oh, that's
running
exciting.
around with John. Yeah, it's a pleasure. He's a real treat of an actor, and he's got a play in New York in April that should be outstanding. And then another film project this year that'll be out.
All right. Fuck
Yeah,
yeah,
so
man.
we'll-
Any last words you want to leave the
This
listeners,
this-
viewers too?
This is why I don't like art projects. I'm gonna end on a confession.
Okay.
So a buddy of mine named Spencer, you might know him, I don't know. But
Mm.
so Spencer and I had an anatomy project
Mhm.
in, I think, junior year of high school. And we had to build a face, or a skull, not a face. Jesus, we're talking Travolta, Nick Cage stuff now.
Face
We had to build a skull. And you had to label each of the, the parts and the bones and so forth. And it was just taking forever. And I'm not good with these, malleable hand tasks, whatever you want to call them. So he was like, well, at least make some new colors for me. So I'm like, look like an idiot kid, patting these two,
Smashing it.
rolling. And so he gets the colors and he's like, yeah, I'm going to have to quit. I'm like, but it's due tomorrow. We're in trouble. And he's like, well, I've still got to finish my English portfolio. I was like, what do you need? He's like, well, I've got my, my whatever, the like paper where it's like on a topic. He said, so I need like a short story and a poem or two poems. I'm like, just stick with the skull there, buddy. So I wrote one poem that was like some sort of conservation nature thing.
Yeah.
And then I wrote one about a war veteran who was having flashbacks and he was haunted, and it was so good.
Yeah.
I'm like, you got better than you deserve here. So he got a great grade on it, and it ended up being like a piece he submitted for something and won.
Got a
like,
national award for it.
Well, it was a pretty big award off the off my labor. I felt like that character that Cranston played in that movie.
What movie?
He plays the writer that was blackballed in Hollywood.
No, offhand.
He actually served time in a prison in Ashland, Kentucky, I believe,
nice.
too.
So the big question is, what grade did you get on your art project? Did he
I think
get
we
you
got
an A?
I think we got an A. Yeah,
Cool,
he
man.
did a great job on the
Nice.
skull. He was very good with his hands.
Yeah. Byron doesn't get C's, people, remember.
I don't get C's.
No,
Never
never
have I
forget.
ever.
All right, man. The YouTube is going to be on the network, Roots of Laughter. That's our comedy network where you can find the other podcasts, Hats Off, Gloves Off. Subscribe on iTunes. Follow me on Instagram, Beam Jeremy. Anything else?
No, it's been a
Cool.
pleasure.
All right, guys. Until next time. See ya. Nice.
Yeah, thanks.
curious about how long that